Welcome to Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino. Get ready to dive into the wild world of Minnesota hunting, trapping, and wildlife. We'll be chatting with some folks who protect, manage, and promote the great outdoors. But don't worry, we'll also have some laughs as we chat about guns, whiskey, and anything else that catches our eye. So grab a drink, sit back, and get ready for a good time. Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and Wolf.Report. Wolf.Report, a platform dedicated to elevating the voices of Minnesota hunters, trappers, and outdoor enthusiasts. Join us in advocating for responsible wolf management in Minnesota. Share your reports, photos, and stories, and together we will ensure that they are seen by all.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, protecting the future of deer and deer hunting through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation. All right, so today we're talking with Tyler Grethen, marketing manager from Weatherby. How's it going, Tyler?
Good. Things are good, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Us.
Yeah. So your role with Weatherby, marketing manager. So explain just a little bit about that.
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. I feel like it's different every day. No, my job is extremely fun. So, yeah, with the marketing team, I have a team where we handle everything from that's consumer facing, essentially. So if you see anything social, anything on the website, product launches, videos, that's all kind of starts with my team. So then I also handle like our print stuff. I handle some of our conservation partnership stuff. So pretty much anything that a consumer is going to see, it starts with my team here.
Awesome. Wow.
Right. And you're in Sheridan, right?
I am in Sheridan, yeah. So I moved to Sheridan 2 years ago. Before I was a Midwest guy.
Okay.
So
Whereabouts?
Just in Missouri, down there south of you guys. So yeah, it's been awesome. Sheridan's a cool little town.
Yeah, no doubt. What's the temp out there today? Is it hot?
It's almost 100 degrees. Man. So they say it can snow at any time, but during rodeo week, which is a big deal here in Sheridan, it's always got to be over 100. So it makes sense.
That is something I wanted to do. I went to school in Powell, and I lived in Powell and Cody, and we made a few treks across the Bighorns to go to Sheridan every now and then, but never made it over to the rodeo, which I really wish I would have, a few.
Yeah, the rodeo is a big deal. I mean, it like doubles the size of Sheridan. We're big sponsors of it here at Weatherby. We do gun giveaways for all the winners of each event, which is always fun. And they have they do the flag riding, so you'll see the Weatherby flag with some of the gals who are riding horses.
That is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So Weatherby's located in Sheridan, obviously.
Has it always been in Sheridan?
No. So this is just a few weeks ago, it marked our 5th year in Sheridan in Wyoming. So about 5 or 6 years ago, Adam Weatherby kind of made that decision so we're from California, and that state isn't exactly friendly to firearms. So they're kind of going through exercises of like, hey, if we want to grow Weatherby, it's interesting because it's a, almost an 80-year-old company, but there's a lot of growth to be had. So it's like, man, California, they had looked at several different states and California just wasn't it. So Wyoming ended up making a pitch. I know the governor of Wyoming and then the town of Sheridan really wanted Weatherby. So honestly, we partnered up with them, and kind of the rest is history. Kind of the cool thing about moving to Weatherby, I'm talking about growth, but when we were in California, we doubled the size of our workforce here in Weatherby. So it's just, we're able to vertically integrate, make more things here. One of my favorite things to do when we're doing a tour is you see like day one in Sheridan, there's a photo of the warehouse, and then there's a door. You walk through this door, and it looks nothing like the photo because the photo was so empty. Now it's just filled with lots of CNC machines and all of that. So it's
I had no idea that you guys were based out of California.
Yeah, I knew they were maybe someplace else previously, but I guess I didn't realize it was California. So I understand why you moved. So
yeah, they had several different locations in California over the years. Roy Weatherby, which is Adam Weatherby's grandfather, started it, and honestly, I kind of love the roots of Weatherby because it's a lot of marketing based. So Roy was really good friends with celebrities in California. So like Roy Rogers and all these things, these guys would be shooting Weatherby. So they'd stop by the Weatherby gun store at the time, and they'd have these big fancy guns.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Huh. That I had no idea.
How big is Sheridan anyway?
Sheridan's about 20,000 people, and I think there's roughly 35 in the county, so kind of surrounding Sheridan area.
Yeah.
And you said that's on the east side of Wyoming?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like north central. We're about 30 miles from the Montana border, and north of Casper. So the biggest, I think Sheridan's the top 10 biggest cities, but Casper's got, I think, like 50,000 people, so it's a little bit bigger than.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy how Billings, Montana, is more populated than the whole state of Wyoming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Billings is pretty big. They're 2 hours north of us. They've kind of got all the Sheridan has everything you need, but if you wanted to go to some of those bigger box stores, that's where you got to go.
Yeah, for sure. So, you touched on Weatherby, when they started, how they started. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Just, a little bit more history on that. And you said they've been around 80 years? No.
Yeah, so it was founded in 1945. So a lot of people actually didn't know Roy Weatherby, which again is Adam's grandfather. He actually started the company as an ammunition company. There's this story about him going out hunting. He might have been using like a 270 Winchester or something, and he lost a deer. So he's like, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do this. Because at that time, there was only so many selections. He's like, I want things to go faster. So he started experimenting essentially in his garage. He was a door-to-door insurance salesman. Kind of his roots was he moved from Kansas, was just kind of a poor dirt farmer, moved out to California with the dream, and then started, insurance, and then moved into rifles and firearms. That is his passion. So Weatherby started ammunition. He started modifying cartridges. Wildcatting is kind of the term that they use to make things go faster. So he started with in 1943-ish, and then 1945, it actually kind of became a business. It was getting more and more popular. There's this famous article that he wrote into the editor of Sports Afield and kind of pitched this whole speed kill thing. So it did start catching on, and he launched the business with 300 Weatherby, 257, and 270 Weatherby were kind of those first original cartridges. Yep. And then just if we're doing the whole history lesson, so from 1945, he started just rechambering rifles. So he did a lot of like Mauser actions and other rifles just to rechamber into his cartridges. And then finally he had these, he wanted to make his own action. He wanted something better, something more robust. And that's when really the Mark V action came about. And that was in the 1958 or so. So that was for the same Mark V action that we have today. Not a lot has actually changed since that first action that Roy himself designed.
So would you say Roy is the grandfather of the Magnum cartridge?
Grandfather. So I would say it would be the father of the Magnum. Father. Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, he was kind of one of those first original guys who really started experimenting away from kind of the mainstream stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, and then as he just kind of built that business, Roy was pretty unique in the sense that he had this really cool product development, engineering type mindset to make things better. But he also did a good job establishing Weatherby as a premium product. And again, he actually kind of started influencer marketing when he's like hanging out with all those guys in Hollywood, having them come in the shop. And yeah, there's just so many stories. Even today, I'll go to a show and I'll be like, oh, my grandfather knew Roy Weatherby. Roy helped him pick out this wood for his wood shotgun. So yeah, there's a lot of those cool stories just with the history that we've had.
And what did you say Roy did for a living?
I think he was an insurance salesman. Don't quote me on that, but I think before he was doing insurance, and then he opened up eventually a sporting goods store called the Weatherby.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, it's too bad. It doesn't say where he grew up in Kansas, just a farm in Kansas.
Farm in Kansas. Oh.
Yeah, so I guess it wasn't that important.
Yeah, I know a few years ago, I couldn't give you the town, but a few years ago, Adam, which is Roy's grandson, him and his dad, Ed, who also ran Weatherby for a number of years, actually went back to Kansas on a whitetail hunt, very near where Roy would have grew up, and it was pretty cool.
That would be cool.
I can't remember if it was Ad or Adam or Ed, who actually tagged out, but they used a 257 Weatherby, which was kind of touted as Roy's favorite cartridge that he developed. So
that would be pretty cool. Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I feel like a farm in Kansas is descriptive enough. I feel like that's how you describe Kansas. Is that a farm in America? Right. That's the state of Kansas.
Right.
Yeah. I don't consider our place a farm. It's a ranch.
Yeah, your guys' place is a ranch.
It is a ranch, yeah. But back in the day, they were farms.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. So see, good people come out of Kansas.
Well, Roy did.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I see how it is.
For every good one, there's a bad one. Right?
Absolutely.
So in Weatherby, so it's been handed down generation. So this would be the third generation with Ed, correct?
Well,
Yep. So it's a third generation family-owned business. Kind of the cool and unique thing about Weatherby is Adam Weatherby and Brenda Weatherby. They come to work every single day. Adam's heavily involved. He's the CEO. He does everything from helping with sales to doing marketing to producing content with it. Like, he's a very fun person to work with. And then Brenda, his wife, she's actually, I think her title is VP of People. So she helps with our HR and compliance here.
Very cool.
So
nice.
So how did you get wrapped up in Weatherby? Get started with them?
Man, so Weatherby has always been one of those premium products. I started in the outdoor industry. Was pretty lucky that where I grew up in Missouri is just like a kind of a hotbed for products. So it's kind of where I grew up, where like Midway USA is built, and then American Outdoor Brands, which has a ton of outdoor brands. So that's kind of where I grew up in the outdoor industry. But Weatherby has always been one of those brands that's high on a pedestal. So I really liked the job that I was doing before. Yeah. There's only a few select brands that I would want to leave for. And Weatherby being in Wyoming, I loved coming out to do Western hunting things. Really enjoyed living in the mountains, things like that. So that's kind of was my introduction to Weatherby. From a product side, it's like anyone who had a Weatherby rifle growing up was really cool. My brother-in-law had a 257 Weatherby. It's funny, my sister has killed multiple whitetails. She's probably killed more deer with a Weatherby than I have. So it was just one of those things where I just really liked, quality of the product. It's really easy in marketing to market something that you truly believe in.
Sure.
So for me, I would hate to be someone who's in marketing and you're truly trying to figure out stories and product lines and like, how do we sell this if you didn't believe in the product?
Absolutely.
So for me, that was like a very strong reason for me to want to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. And you guys do a lot with organizations, nonprofit stuff like that, such as Minnesota Deer Hunters. This year for 2024, MDHA had chosen the Weatherby Vanguard Bronze in 7mm08
for the gun of the year.
For the gun of the year, yeah. So
that's one of my favorite things about Weatherby because that kind of falls under part of the marketing part, is that we do have a really good commitment to work with not only the big conservation groups, but we work with a lot of chapter level and state level groups. So that's really fun and fulfilling. So honestly, I think I alluded to you guys, we're doing a film festival later this month, and one of the films is with Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. So it's just really fun to be involved and kind of put our money's where our mouth is. With Pittman Robertson Act, we already donate a ton of money, obviously, to conservation with the excise tax that all firearms get put on for conservation. But then we kind of double down and from a selfish point of view on conservation, it's we want to have more hunters, more animals on the landscape to help our business. But at the end of the day, we're hunters ourselves. So giving back and working with organizations like that is just a win-win.
Absolutely. So you mentioned the film festival. That's right in Sheridan then? Yeah,
we're doing it in downtown Sheridan. It's kind of, we call it the historic YO Theater. It's kind of an old schooly theater. Typically, this is our second year doing. We produce a ton of our own content. So all of our marketing, all of our filming is all done in-house, meaning there's team members from Weatherby are shooting, filming, editing, producing videos. So we like to kind of kick the fall off in late summer with videos that we shot last year and haven't released. So we want to give the community of Sheridan or anyone who wants to visit Weatherby in that time frame the opportunity to see these videos before we actually release them to the public. So we'll do a bunch of raffles, bunch of giveaways. This year, we're actually bringing in the Hushin guys. I don't know if you guys know who those guys are on YouTube. They're coming in. They're going to preview a video that they did, and we have like a new product launching with them. So they're going to exclusively launch it there. So it's going to be kind of a fun event.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, no doubt. And when is that happening?
July 31st. If you're looking for tickets, you can just get on our website or yotheater.com.
Man, I have to make a road trip.
Should we go to Sheridan?
Right? I'd go back to Sheridan.
A road trip,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Every time we have one of these, we want to take a road trip.
I know. We got to start doing.
We got a lot of places to go.
Exactly.
We do.
I got to work on my time off. So what makes Weatherby different?
Yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, it's going to be the people at Weatherby and the attention to detail. So if you're getting a Mark V, Model 307, or Vanguard, a lot of it's either manufactured here in the U.S. in our facility here in Sheridan, or the final inspection, or even on a Vanguard, which we import from Japan. We've done that for over 50 years, worked with the same factory. But if you're getting a Cerakoted, like the bronze that you guys did for your guys' rifle, that's someone in Sheridan, Wyoming, hand doing that. If there's any kind of paint job, that's all hand painted. So at the end of the day, it's going to be attention to detail, the quality of people and output that we have. And then at the end of the day, we're going to back our product. So we have 80 years of customer service things. So we're still taking calls on guns from the 1950s, which is always a fun thing. Wow. So I think when you get a Weatherby in your hand, it's also like nice to know that it's not just going to a corporation. It is truly going back to a company that genuinely loves hunting, loves the outdoors. So those are kind of the things that I feel like set Weatherby apart.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. It's so nice to, have that customer service and that warranty and everything, to where you call, you're going to get the parent company, the main company, not, you call some of these others. Well, then you've got to, they're the small fish, and they've got other people to answer to, where obviously Weatherby, they're the ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can't see me, but I guess the listeners can't see me, but I could throw a rock and I could hit customer service. Like, we're all under one roof. We actually don't do any remote jobs either. Everyone who works for Weatherby lives in Weatherby, with like the few exceptions of like our sales reps to cover the country, their territory. But everyone else is here in Sheridan, which is fun.
That is pretty cool.
It's great.
No doubt.
So started out as an ammunition company. And so how many different calibers does Weatherby have? I mean, that's probably...
So we have 16 proprietary cartridges. I guess they're not proprietary because anyone can chamber them and do that. But we've had everything down from a 224 Weatherby all the way up to 460 that you would use in Africa. So some of the cool ones that we've launched in the last 10 years have been our RPM line. So that's our 6.5 RPM. That's stated for rebated precision magnum. If you're a real Weatherby nut, a lot of our magnums are belted cases. In the last few years, the RPM line, 6.5 RPM and 338 RPM, are a non-belted case. And we developed those to fit inside a 6-lug action, which for our Mark V, we essentially have a short/skinny action, and then our magnum action that does the big calibers. But that 6-lug allows us to do things like the backcountry, where you can get a sub 5-pound gun.
Okay. So is the ammunition, is that also made here or in Sheridan?
We load all of our ammo here in Sheridan as well. So we don't like make the brass or anything like that, but we load it all here. So we have pretty much for every one of those, there's going to be anywhere from 3 to 7 offerings per one, like different bullet projectiles, grain weights and all that stuff. And then we actually just started this last year. We load 5 non-Weatherby things too. So we're loading 7 PRC, 6.5 PRC, 300 PRC, 280 Ackley, and then 28 Nosler. So we picked a few cartridges to load that were non-Weatherby just because of the unique projectiles that we use, and then honestly just letting our ballisticians go to work and develop a load that was specific for hunting. If you notice those calibers, they're either newer and hotter, but they don't always have a great ammo availability. So we are pretty much custom loading, like especially like 280 Ackley. That's been one of our most popular one of the non-Weatherby stuff, just because not a lot of bigger manufacturers actually load 280 Ackley. So we have a bunch of like good options on that.
Huh. I got to say, that's the first time I've heard the term ballistician, and I love it.
Ballistician?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, from our ammo standpoint, we have so many checks and balances on our, and we have multiple ballisticians that what they're doing is testing lots and velocities and powder burns and all the things to make sure that when you pull a box off the shelf, it's going to be super consistent from one box to the other box. Because at the end of the day, there's a little bit of science in playing with, because not every single powder, it might be the same powder, but every lot of powder is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So every one of our lots, we tweak a little bit of like what goes into it, essentially.
I think a ballistician sounds pretty cool. So they get to shoot guns all day long.
Do they actually get to shoot guns?
I'm sure if you ask a couple of our ballisticians, it's not always just getting to shoot guns for a living, but they do get to do that. So I know most of all those guys are going to be, again, it's kind of a funny thing to say, but we have people who are accuracy tested, meaning like they are approved to shoot guns for accuracy, because we have an accuracy guarantee. So we have guys that truly are good shooters.
I could totally do that job.
Yeah, I've seen you shoot.
I feel like they probably get to shoot one out of every 5,000 cartridges that they load.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool, right? At least for a while. You know.
Wow.
Cool beans.
I mean, one of the coolest parts of their job is like, let's just say we want to introduce a new we want to test a new 300 Weatherby projectiles. Like, we've been loading a lot of things called hammer bullets right now, and we have a 195. But if we ever wanted to load like a 205, they're literally down there hand loading like a reloader, and they're just starting to test and tinker, shoot groups, see what fits the best. And if it's something that passed all these tests and checks and balances that they have, they'll then maybe make it into a production run. And then that production run has a set of standards. Yeah. When we talk about velocities within factory ammo, we call it a standard deviation. So we want that change in velocity from shot to shot to be under 20, meaning so if you're shooting 3,000 feet per second, everyone in that box should not go over 20 and not go under 2980 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we have very tight tolerances. Most of them are under 10, but a lot of them is, there's kind of those benchmarks. But if you were to go buy a cheaper ammo option, it might be 50, it might be 37. So standard deviation is very important when it comes to if you're hand loading yourself or buying production.
Yeah, no doubt.
Are you throwing shade on the core locks right now?
I'm not throwing any shade at anyone. I'm highlighting, so no shade, highlighting what we do.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. That's what makes Weatherby different.
That's right.
So let's talk about the rifles a little bit, obviously, because rifles are the big thing. So, your Mark V was one of the first, or what?
Yeah, one of the first, and it's kind of like from a quality standpoint, that's kind of our top line stuff. That's where you're going to find lots of different carbon fiber stock options, higher quality wood options. We do a lot of custom shop stuff with Mark V. So it's kind of our Mark V. And then we have our Model 307 action, which is a brand new action for us. We launched it last year. So that was like the first time we introduced a new action to the marketplace in 50 years. So it's kind of a big deal for us. We call it Model 307 because our move to Wyoming allowed us to really expand what we do. So we wanted to develop a platform that maybe isn't quite the current Weatherby user, meaning there's a lot of 700 clone or 700 based actions out there and the reason that's appealing is because aftermarket accessories.
Yeah.
So pretty much every trigger company, every stock company, all these aftermarket accessories, if you're going to build your own rifle, are 700 compatible. So we wanted to have an action that catered to that, because that's a lot more popular when you get into, that crossover guy who likes to hunt, but then might want to compete in NRL Hunter, or they might want to compete in PRS. So we wanted to have a platform that was compatible with a lot of aftermarket stuff. So we sell just a builder's action, but then we have full rifles. So it's like anywhere from $1,200 all the way up to a sweet factory class, carbon barrel, carbon fiber folding stock one in that line. So 307 is new for us, really cool. And then we have our Vanguard. Vanguard was launched and developed 50 years ago because we wanted to provide a quality rifle, but a little bit friendlier on the price. So that allows us to do that. We have, from that price point, you'll be able to find a Vanguard anywhere from $500 up to $1,500. So,
yeah, we really, the Vanguards are one of our top sellers. We don't, we obviously can get the Mark Vs. We don't carry a whole lot of them just because of the price point, for certain thing. But I have been intrigued by that 307, and
Absolutely.
And actually I ordered a couple in for a couple guys, and they were Vanguard. I mean, I think I've sold this one guy probably 6 Vanguards, in the last few years. And then this last guy goes, you know what? I want to try that 307. So I ordered it in, and I thought it was really smooth. And he got it, came back 3 days later, said, this has got to be the most accurate out of the box rifle I've ever shot. He goes, I think within 2 shots, he goes, boom, it was done. And he said, I'm shooting groups like I've never shot. He goes, it was amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I'm a huge fan of the Vanguard. I own 3 of them personally. They've got a really quality barrel on them, and they just flat out work. 307s they're fun. They're a little bit, so it's not always even like a quality thing. It's also just subtle differences. Vanguard, you'll find that it's a 2-stage trigger. And then in Model 307 Mark V, you'll find that it's a trigger tech trigger. So it's a different type of trigger pull. So it's also like a preference thing for people to bounce between. So I'm a big fan of Model 307 just because it does have that trigger tech trigger in it. And so, yeah, just a subtle differences too.
So out of the rifles, the Mark V and the 307 are American made.
Yep, American made, all done here in Sheridan. So yeah, every Model 307 or Mark V comes through the facility here, and we're either doing contouring, chambering, Cerakote, fluting, adding brakes, doing all the things to it. So
I was thinking at one time I had heard some of the Mark Vs, or maybe it was a certain model, were had something to do with somewhere in Brainerd, Minnesota. I don't know if there was some rifling or anything like that.
I'm not sure. There may have been, there might be possibly be like a barrel,
and maybe it was more
situation coming from there, or potentially some scroll work on an action or something. We have definitely suppliers in the U.S. that not every single piece of the Mark V is made in Sheridan, but it's all built there. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. And shotguns. Obviously, Weatherby does shotguns as well.
Yeah, so it's fun to be able to do the rifle side and then the shotgun side. And on our shotguns, we offer a really good quality stuff. We have everything from semi-autos to over and unders to side-by-sides. And again, we kind of do that good, better, best, where there's something that's affordable for everyone. And then we have some really cool Italian-made stuff too. So our newest shotgun that we launched is the Storix, which I've been pretty pumped about. The new kind of waterfowl shotgun. It's made in Italy, but then a lot of the finished work is done here in Sheridan. So you'll see like some custom hand sponge painted stuff, some Cerakotes, some camo dips, and all of these things that are, we have a really cool partner in Italy who manufactures the firearm. Yep. And the cool thing about them is they're also a family-owned business. It's a father-son thing. So it kind of goes with the Weatherby ethos. And then we bring those in, just honestly the barreled actions on those now. And then we do all the tinkering to it, final inspection, pack them, and then ship them. So,
oh, that's really nice. I like the Element. I get to mess with those a lot more. And I think it was it last year? It came out with that. It was just a special run that you guys did with that M81 camo.
Oh yeah, those are sweet.
And
big fan of those.
I had ordered quite a few of those, and I might have one hiding behind a door somewhere. Just,
Yeah, we do that a lot. And I feel like that door is getting hard to open with all the Weatherbys that are hidden behind it.
Right, exactly.
There might be a couple APFs thrown in there. Maybe. It's a lot of Weatherby.
There's a lot of Weatherby for sure. But yeah, really, the Element's a nice gun. And I've been looking at this Sorex and really thinking about, grabbing a few of those. And we picked up a few Orions too.
The Sorex is a sweet upgrade. Elements, here's my little testimonial to Elements. I just got from a guy who was hunting last year. There was some kind of crazy flood. They were hunting out of kayaks. He dropped his Element into the water. And it's like freezing cold. It was too deep. They, for whatever reason, could not get it that day. Now it's springtime, and they just went out about a month ago, so 6 months later from hunting season. They went out, and they found the rifle or the shotgun buried in the mud. So the floodwaters had receded, and they could walk up, and they pulled this Element out, and it's just caked in mud. They broke it down, cleaned it, and they're like, this is going to be a test. And then they sent us a video, and they go bang, bang, bang all 3 times like nothing happened. I mean, it was submerged in water and mud for over 6 months.
That's awesome.
There you go.
That should definitely be a new commercial for you guys too.
Create that in the video. For sure.
So, no handguns?
No, we do not do handguns. I'm sure in our history somewhere we may have done a promo of some sort. I think for now we'll stick to the long guns.
Okay. Yeah. And then another one. No semi-autos of any kind,
other than the
shotguns.
We're bolt guys. To my knowledge, we're always working on stuff, but we don't have anything super on the deck for semi-autos. We're bolt guns. We kind of like know our lane, and we want to provide quality hunting and competition rifles and shotguns. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like companies, as they're trying to grow, they just try to expand their product lineup, and we don't want to get away from what we do really well. We might catch a few more sales, but then I feel like you start to lose the identity of the brand. So I always say never, but I think with where we're at, there's even total opportunities to keep growing within what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely appreciate that. And I think that's true of a lot of the firearms industry, is that a lot of companies kind of know their lane, and they do it very well.
Yes.
Right.
And then you get these few companies that do try to do everything.
Right.
And they get the price point right. And
they don't do it well.
But
they don't do it very well.
Or they start lacking on, they lack on the stuff that they used to do well because they're trying to come up with a new product line or whatever. So obviously at some point, something's going to get missed.
Yep. Right. Just keep Weatherby.
Yep, exactly.
That's my vote.
Me too.
Yeah.
I grew up shooting the Vanguard 300 mag. I love that gun.
Yeah. I need to get a Mark V.
I want that 307.
Yeah, that 307 I've been looking at too.
I'd like to try the 307 myself. I kind of fanboy love that Meat Eater one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Meat Eater one's pretty cool. We just launched probably 4 weeks ago now. We launched it. We call it the Alpine CT. It's a Model 307 carbon barrel, carbon stock, and it's right around $2,000. So to have a carbon barrel, carbon stock, and kind of entry level price right there, we've been getting so much good feedback. They shoot so well. Our carbon barrel that we use is a company called BSF Barrels, and they are just a really quality barrel. They think about carbon barrels in a different way, and we have accuracy records right here in Weatherby when we're doing all of our testing, and I think all top 5 accuracy records have been done with the BSF barrel.
Yeah. What caliber?
Oh man, I actually don't know that one. I'm gonna guess that it's probably some sort of like 6.5 RPM or something along those lines.
Okay.
Well, if you want to send it out here, we'll figure out what caliber it is. We'll give you some reviews on it.
Yeah, we'll give it a whirl.
Then you can put a little label on there, down the barrel endorsed.
There you go.
Oh, God, yeah, all 20 people love that.
So I really like that stock on that 307. The regular stock, not getting into like the MDT or anything, but it's kind of a unique stock on that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a vertical, so kind of trends have been vertical grip with a flat fore end so that you can do kind of that combination of bench shooting or shooting prone in the field. And honestly, with a vertical grip stock, they've been a lot more popular versus, kind of the sporter style stock, just because it promotes really good shooting form too. When you can get your palm vertical, you can really pull that trigger finger straight back instead of like when you're with the sporter and you're kind of gripped. For some guys, the sporter is way more comfortable, but I've been a huge fan of that vertical grip. And, for the Range XP or the Meat Eater, where they're $1,200, you get adjustable length of pull, adjustable cheek riser there. So you get some cool custom features on a stock that typically you don't get in that price range.
Right. I know I've been looking at, we've talked about it getting into some long range shooting, and the 307 was definitely, it's on my radar to really look at because I really like that stock and that adjustable cheek weld and everything.
Right. Yeah, get that in the 6.5. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think it would be too. Especially you throw a muzzle brake on that baby. Mm-hmm. Be awesome.
Well, now we got another 6.5 to throw into the debate here. Are we talking Creedmoor, PRC, or RPM?
I didn't want to clarify there just because I don't want you fanboying all over your Creedmoor. But
well, I'm not a fan of the Creedmoor. I have one. I like it. I'm not going to defend it.
Okay. All right.
So, best-selling model, more than likely the Mark V.
Oh, it's got to be the Vanguard.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a Vanguard. It depends. So is it by historical volume? But yeah, it's going to be something Vanguard. But it's from a cartridge standpoint, it's going to be 300 Weatherby 257 for the Weatherby stuff. And then we do chamber tons of Vanguards and stuff in like 6.5 308. Again, that's a very standardized cartridge. Anything in 308 sells very well. But from a Weatherby standpoint, 300 Weatherby 257 are kind of the top two there.
Yeah, I do like that 257 Weatherby. I've looked at that one quite a bit too, trying to decide, do I want to go that way?
Well, it's a nice classic round.
It is. It is.
Yeah. But the gun of the year is what?
7mm08.
Okay.
Yeah, and
also a great cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and we chose that one, because we wanted kind of that all around, to encompass even your youth or your lighter shooter, your youth, you ladies, obviously, your men as well, but kind of just get that basis first because we haven't had that light of a chambering in quite a while.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to go with that. We would have loved to, go with a Weatherby chambering, but we just decided to let's stick with that for now.
Yeah.
See how that goes. And then, maybe in a couple of years, we'll come back and, go with a 257 or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. We also chose that one a little bit for the predator hunting as well.
Yes, true. Yep.
So,
yeah, that's a pretty cool cartridge. It's a good versatile cartridge. That's not a bad choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what with like cartridges. I'm not like some people get super defensive or like are all in on one cartridge. And I would say maybe it's because I'm spoiled working at Weatherby is that I think of cartridges like tools. So it's like, what cartridge is the best tool for the hunt I'm about to do?
Yeah.
Right.
For me, it's like I love 300 Weatherby, but if I was going to go do an NRL hunter competition, I'm going to shoot a 6.5 Creedmoor, right? If I'm going to go elk hunting, again, I'm going to pick the best tool for the job. And I'm going to go 300 Weatherby. I would never take a Creedmoor out, right? But then there's the guys who are like, you know what, 6.5 Creedmoor. I mean, our joke around the office is we call it need more.
Call it what?
Need more.
Need more.
Yeah,
now I've heard Creedmoor, need more, and bleed more. I don't know which one to go with.
I like need more.
Yeah.
I'm going with that one.
So that's kind of our joke. We have, in the 6.5 category, from a Weatherby cartridge standpoint, we have 6.5 RPM, and then we have our 6.5 300, which is, a 300 Weatherby case neck down to 6.5. So we have the fastest production 6.5 on the market. That one is a really popular cartridge and a fan favorite of Weatherby guys.
Yeah, that one definitely,
awesome.
That one's always intrigued me when I see it, or when I see a gun chamber and I'm like, okay, so I had to look it up because I was ignorant at one time, still am, but I was like 6.5 300. What does that mean? So, okay, here we go. Google. It's like, Oh, these guys are thinking.
Yeah, it's like
You
a
know?
hot rod round.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like they're tricking people, mind games.
Right.
Okay, so you got your 6'5" guys, you got the 300. Hey, let's mold them together. Boom. Now everybody is on it.
Yep,
Yeah, that's a really cool cartridge there.
for sure.
Yeah, for guys you might not know. So like in perspective of a Creedmoor and like let's just say 130 grain Creed, like shooting out of a Creedmoor versus 6.5 300. That 6.5 300 is going about 700 feet per second faster out of the muzzle. So we always say what is like now I'm talking math, but like force has velocity squared in there. So speed matters. That's what we always say. Speed kills. Speed matters at Weatherby.
For sure. Yeah. Fighting off a headwind or whatever. A
6'5",
crosswind.
300.
Yeah.
Boy, that sounds pretty good.
Doesn't that sound cool?
Mm-hmm.
I just want one. I just want one because it sounds cool.
Right. So being from the Midwest, what do you hunt whitetails with? 300?
Ooh, so I would do 257 Weatherby.
Okay.
That's what I would hunt whitetails with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. 240 Weatherby is sweet too. I don't personally own one, but 240 Weatherby, that's like a 243, but going way faster. That would be a sweet cartridge too. Especially with hunting in the Midwest, you don't even like with a 240 or 257. If it's under 300 yards, you're not even gonna have to worry about holdovers or anything. So it's just like point shoot. There's a dead deer there essentially.
Yeah. Well, especially up where we are. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would be. I don't think I could have a more than 100-yard shot where I hunt.
We got a couple longer shots.
But I mean,
just because of the high line.
Yeah, but rarely, rarely take them.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not even because of the cartridge we use. It's more because of our ability.
Wow. Yeah. You do have to weigh both of those, right?
Right. Yeah. But
right.
that's where, practice makes perfect. And I don't practice to make it perfect. I'm trying to work on that.
Sure.
Hey, don't worry, guys. When I was in the Midwest, I'm like, ooh, a 250-yard range. This is far. Oh, I hit the steel. Now it's like we get to shoot out to 1,000. When you are that Midwest guy and you're starting to prepare to potentially do an out west hunt, definitely shoot. I mean, again, using a gun and a scope as a tool, you're only as good as your equipment. So I always say if you got a $3,000 rifle and you put a $200 scope on there, you got a $200 rifle, right? So it's like know your tools and know how to work them. It's just honestly, when you get more proficient like that, you might not actually be a better shooter, but you are more confident. So there's nothing worse when you're a Midwest guy and you come out west and you got an elk at 350 and you hadn't practiced and you're like, am I dialing? Am I holding? So you only get so many opportunities. Hunting out west is hard, especially when you're trying to plan that trip from the Midwest. So just be familiar with it. It's one of those things that I don't think people do enough. And I was guilty of it when I lived in Missouri. So yeah, lessons learned on that. When you show up to and then little tips too is just always have the tools to fix things. Like make sure you have a torque wrench set that is good for your scope, just in case. I do have a nightmare. It's like one time I did drive all the way from Missouri out to eastern Montana in my younger days, and I had an action screw come loose, and I'm like, did I just ruin my whole trip? I have no idea what I'm doing. So fast forward 10 years now, and it's like I've got everything. I just went to Alaska, and we set up 6 rifles for guys, and you have all the things, and you just get more confident as you build that knowledge. So.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. I mean, we've had that happen.
It seems like we always have that happen.
Yeah. We were at the range one time.
Yeah.
And Jimmy was shooting one of his new guns. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it's like we were getting it dialed in and it was pretty good. And then he goes, well, here, why don't you shoot it? So I'm shooting and all of a sudden it's like, wow, why are we like going downhill all of a sudden? And it's like, nothing's working right. So I go, here, you shoot it again. He shoots and it's like way off. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, we couldn't get it adjusted.
Couldn't get it adjusted far enough. Well, here we look.
Put it on backwards, didn't you?
Not backwards.
No, it was,
I don't even know how I did that.
What did you do?
Something dumb.
Well, from left to right.
Yeah, from left to right.
I had the dial on the wrong side.
Yeah,
basically.
and
basically totally screwed it up.
And we didn't have the right tool to tighten down the brackets at all. Once we
couldn't change it.
Yeah, we couldn't change it. It's like, yep, from now on, I'm bringing the torque, now I got a whole kit that I bring every time we go to the range. And,
I've got that whole Real Avid case that just lives in my range bag.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah.
And works on the bow too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, and I have learned more about, how to obviously tear apart a rifle, for the most part, to figure out, okay, so if this comes loose or anything like that. So, and like I said, being more proficient with your tool and, the tools that you use, then that's, will make you a better shot essentially as well. So,
yeah. So how many have you elk hunt out there now? Obviously,
I do. I have elk hunted. I've killed a few elk. It's pretty cool, pretty addicting. So.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's your longest shot on an elk out there?
So the elk that I have killed is 300 Weatherby, and then I have shot one with a 7mm Ren. Yep. 300 Weatherby is kind of the go-to for elk. It's like that caliber was made for it. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I always have used a 30-06 for elk hunts, but that's just me.
That's classic though.
Yeah.
I always dreamt of using a 300 Weatherby to go out elk hunting, but I've never made it out there. So
right. What's the biggest one you've gotten?
Elk?
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody gave me a steak once.
Was that me?
No, you don't share.
I was going to say that would have been an old steak.
Yeah, I've wanted to go out elk hunting, but just it never happened.
Yeah.
Yet. Let's say yet.
Right. Can you get over-the-counter tags for out-of-staters out there in Wyoming?
For Wyoming, they're pretty stingy when it comes to non-residents. For elk in Wyoming, though, there are plenty of cow opportunities. If you're ever I'm sure there's leftover to cow tags right now. I always tell people, you just got to go to learn. So when you're able to pick up a reduced price tag, is what they call it in Wyoming, a cow tag. I mean, the pressure feels like it's off, and at least you're hunting. A lot of those units too, with Wyoming, you're building points as non-resident. You could go hunt cows in a unit that you think you might draw 2 years from now, 4 years from now, and you can learn that unit with a little bit less stakes as getting a cow. Because there is no shame in coming out here and shooting a cow elk. The meat is delicious. And again, it's later. Usually those later season rifle hunts, you can get a cow tag. I mean, there's rifle hunts in Wyoming on leftover tags, I'm sure right now, that go to the end of December. So there's plenty of opportunities on that side. Now they are very stingy when it comes to their mule deer and then their trophy potential. So it does take, I would say for most guys, for elk, it's going to take over 4 points for someone to draw something. Again, it really depends on the unit, and then on deer, some of the best units are going to be 10 years plus kind of thing. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How about pronghorn?
Pronghorn is changed a little bit the last couple of years. They've reduced non-resident tags and reduced tags in general just because we had a hard winter 2 years ago. So populations have been down. I actually, as a resident, had a pretty good chance at a certain unit, and I did not draw. So, but again, typically, depending on the unit you're picking as a non-resident, every other year, every third year, you can usually draw an antelope tag.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with taking a cow.
Oh,
that's a lot of meat.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do, right? We're not trophy hunters. Some people are. We're not.
Never been able to be a trophy hunter.
Right.
I mean, I happened to get a trophy elk, and I'm very happy with it, and it looks great above the fireplace.
Right.
But, trust me, I know you guys from Minnesota do know, because what do we call them? Blue platers? I feel like we see those guys out here in Wyoming all the time. So.
Blue platers?
Yep.
What's a blue plater? I'm not familiar.
I think that's a license plate. I feel like I've heard that term from Minnesota guys. It's like, it's just a blue plater.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Flatlanders. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like everyone always is hating on the Texas license plates, and that's the team I'm on. Let's shit on Texas all we want.
Yeah. They got ugly license plates or something?
Hey, ugly people. I don't know.
I thought that was
Jared said
Wisconsin.
that.
No,
I thought that was Wisconsin.
well, yeah, here it's Wisconsin for sure. Colorado, it was like
okay, I get it.
hunting
I get
season
it.
would roll around or skiing season or whatever, and you get stuck behind a Texas license plate, and that would ruin your day.
Oh, I
In
see.
Kansas, it was like Oklahoma license plates.
So what is it in Wyoming
and
then?
part of Missouri.
What is it in Wyoming?
Probably Colorado.
What is in Wyoming for license plates?
Yeah, who do you hate? I mean,
Oh man, just honestly, we're team no. Like again, we're pretty stingy with our out of state tags, so it's anyone with a non Wyoming plate.
There you go.
all of us not.
Well, I remember when I was in Powell, it seemed like what was it, County 1? Is that around the Casper or Cheyenne area?
Yeah, I think so. I know Sheridan's 3, so that's like the only one that I know.
Yeah, I think it was 1. I remember up there, it's like, they'd be bad drivers, like, County 1 or 1 plate or something like that. It's like,
Oh, I forget they put the
they put the number, the
yeah,
county
they
number.
put the county on there.
Yep.
There's always somebody to make fun of,
Oh, for sure. Yep. Somebody's hating on somebody all the time.
right?
It's usually us,
For sure.
for the most
Yeah.
part.
So I see you have a bunch of Weatherby boxes behind you there. Anything
Yes,
good?
I do.
What's that first one?
What is this one?
These are, is that like behind your door stash like I have?
Yeah, no, you should. I think I have 36 rifles in my office right now. So
There you go. That's
this one is a Alpine MBT carbide.
Oh, nice.
and
Yeah,
that's
this
the
is
one.
pretty fun. I have a Live Wild Mark V or Remy Warren edition one. So yeah.
Oh,
There's a bunch
wow.
of
You've
stuff
got
back
some
there.
fancy ones in there.
Yeah, I thought I saw a shipping label to Minnesota on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that carbon one? Sure.
Yeah.
Send one over.
We'll test it out.
I thought I saw it said down the barrel, one of 3.
One of 3, yeah.
We'll put you guys on that super, super long list of volunteers who said I can test that for you. That's like the number one joke at trade show. Hey, my truck's right outside if you just want to cart those out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's required. You have to do that.
Oh, for
You
sure.
have to.
Right. It's like,
What else are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
Quality of guns. I don't know.
Right. For sure. Awesome.
So I saw Weatherby as a podcast on our mark, right?
Yeah, on our mark, that's kind of our place to do. We do ballistic podcasts. We do hunt stories. We bring in partners, interesting people. We're pretty much in every Wednesday or every other Wednesday type cadence on that. It's a great spot to, we do our product launches and stuff where, but a lot of times you're going to see like a graphic or short launch video or something, but it kind of lets us just walk through a product too. So it's a really good spot for like new products. Like if you're like, man, and we typically do that for every single product. So like if you were like, ooh, this Alpine CT, what's it about? You can pop on our podcast. There's going to be one about it.
Awesome.
Yeah. I started. I subscribed last week. I started researching a little bit more and was watching a bunch of them. I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
Do you get to do that?
Yeah, so typically it's going to be myself or Luke Torkeldsen who's hosting. We'll have Adam on a bunch. We'll have some of our ballisticians, product development. We do a little bit of everything. But yeah, I get to be on most of those, which is really fun. We're about to hit episode 100. So
Nice.
we've
Awesome.
been cranking them out this last 2 years. So
That's great.
Nice.
So you have any of those famous hunters on there ever?
So yeah, you'll go in through there. There's going to be definitely Hushin. There'll be some Meteor guys. There'll be Remy Warren, I think was the last one that we had. So yeah, we get a lot of cool people on that.
Well, I suppose they're all kind of located around you, aren't they?
Man, located around you is relative. Remy's from Nevada, so just a plane ride away. Yeah, so we have partners in, the Hushin guys are Idaho, Utah. So they're all pretty close, but a lot of times we'll do, again, when we call them partners because we truly like to partner with them. We don't like just pay someone and then it's not a relationship. We'll go on a hunt with them. Like last week, we were just with all of the Hushin guys. We all went to Alaska and did a hunting camp, and we'll have a podcast about that kind of thing. So there's always opportunities to get introduced and get to share camp with guys. So
That is sweet.
Yeah, that would be cool.
What were you hunting for in Alaska, if you don't mind
Alaska,
me?
we did a cast and blast. So we were doing spring bear.
Nice.
So we were hunting black bears from, but it was based off a boat. So we like slept on one of those kind of house boats, and then we fished halibut, rockfish, all kinds of fish during the day, and then we would go ask the transporter to drop us off somewhere, and then we'd go hunt black bears in the evenings. And when I say evenings, it was only dark for like 2 hours, so it's like go all day. So
that's what I want. I never want it to be dark. I just want to like be outside.
Well, it's late here now until like 10:30.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I'd love it to be light till like 3 a.m.
Well, it's light at like 4 a.m.
Right.
The light starts
it was
coming.
getting so there's no shooting time in Alaska either. It's just if you can see, it's legal to shoot.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Just because of how much it fluctuates, so they don't have a shooting time.
I suppose.
Except for some migratory birds, but we won't get into that. But yeah, it was getting like dark to where you couldn't shoot around midnight, and then it would just be kind of gray until 1, and then from 1 to 2 it was pretty dark, and then from 1 to 3 it started getting gray again.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So when did you sleep?
When?
Yeah.
Not. I don't know when I slept. I still think I'm recovering from that. So
When you got back? Yeah, it sounds like a crazy fun trip.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Black bear hunting off of a boat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there anything else that you want to talk Weatherby, or what do you guys got coming up?
yeah, I would just say we have launched so many new products this year. So if you haven't seen any of those, just go check out our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just go check those out. We have a lot of cool hunt stories. We've launched 5 or 6 products already this year, and then we're not slowing down. We got some more products going into fall hunting season. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Weatherby, I would say check out those socials.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I was checking out the website last few days off and on, and yeah, it's a lot of cool products. And
The 307. Check out the 307.
yes, definitely check out that 307.
Awesome. Well, I think we're good to go, Tyler. I mean, thanks for joining us
Yeah.
and chatting with us a little bit.
Yeah, I hope to be back. We should do this again once you guys cross 100 episodes. Let's do something.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Heck,
If we
can do
get
it.
to 100, we're going to, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We can do a review after we get our shipment.
Yeah, 37 of them.
Right. Exactly. No, I think we can definitely do this again.
God, I hope
Maybe
so.
come closer to hunting season, or even after hunting season, or if we get some new product lines that come out, why not? Revisit it. And
After we get that 307, start shooting. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that 6.5 300.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way I don't have to say I have a 6.5. I can actually throw that 300 on the end.
There you go.
It like softens that blow.
Got 3 more numbers.
Yeah,
attached.
right. I don't have to end with 6.5.
You can say with some pride, I have a 6.5 300.
I can, right.
Yeah.
For sure.
and it's got WBY
Right.
at the end of it.
Weatherby.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
like saying Weatherby at the end of
Yep.
it. Yeah.
So I got to start calling mine a 6.5 leave more.
Need more.
Need more.
Need
Need
more.
more.
You
Need
need that
more power.
300 on the end of it with the Weatherby.
All right. All right. Fine. I'll throw mine in the fire and buy a new gun.
There you go.
Tyler, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow.
All right.
We're going to talk stock options. I'd like a Monte Carlo. Can you provide that for me?
Yeah, if you shoot me an email, if you get it out in office, I promise I'll get back to you.
Perfect.
Promises I'll get back to you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Tyler.
Awesome.
Thanks for spending your time with us and everything.
Yeah.
And
Stay cool out there in Sheridan.
yeah, exactly.
All right, see you guys.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Later.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf.Report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.